Welcome to Lesson 4 of Managerial Accounting. Today we cover Chapter 5, which is titled Cost, Volume, Profit, Relationships, indicating the relationships between those three and a fourth variable. CVP, as it's referred to, analysis, is focused on separating costs into variable and fixed categories. Variable costs are those that increase with each unit increase in sales. The variable cost corresponds to the direct labor plus direct materials cost model that we introduced at the beginning of the subject. Fixed costs are those that do not change as sales increase. These correspond with overhead costs as discussed earlier. By the way, in the long run, there are no fixed costs. All costs can be eliminated in the long run, but in the short run we make this distinction between fixed and variable cost. When we subtract variable costs from revenue per sale, we get a figure called the contribution margin. Page 189 introduces this term as we look at the basics of CVP analysis. Page 191 gives the relationship in equation form. This is the most simple way of expressing the relationship between profit, cost, and revenue measurements. Note that profit stands for net operating income in these equations. The text then shows these relationships in graphic form on page 193. Note in particular the break-even point on the graph. Page 195 introduces the contribution margin ratio, a percentage which is based on sales, a percentage of the sales that contribute to paying the overhead costs of production. Page 196 offers some applications of these concepts, and the next page shows the relationship between the four key variables. These are listed in blue boxes so that you can identify them. Page 201 introduces both target profit analysis and break-even analysis, two commonly used measures of business performance. Page 206 poses the question, what is the best cost structure for stable profitability? Should we aim for high variable costs and low fixed costs, or should we aim for the opposite? There is no simple answer to this question, but an example of two farms with different cost structures helps us to show the implications for profits. So you should work through that. Page 208 introduces the concept of operating leverage, which is a measure of how sensitive profit is to percentage change in sales. Note that a higher degree of operating leverage can be a dangerous thing, and why that is so. On page 210, we look at sales mix and the effects that this has on cost, volume, and profit as we vary the mix of products that we are selling. And finally, on page 213, we examine some of the simplifying assumptions that underlie this CVP analysis. Take a good look at the summary presented on the same page to make sure you are clear on all the concepts. The Lesson 4 outline from the chapter includes a rather lengthy list of learning objectives, but we have covered all of them in this video. In addition, Chapter 5, we have a series of discussion questions to answer. And finally, there is the quiz. I see that you're doing quite well on your quizzes. Perfect scores all the way through. Way to go. The idea here is push for the best grade possible. The idea is to get A's in every class that you can. Certainly this one has to be one of those that it is most direct and obvious how to do that. Okay, I'm pulling for you. We'll be taking a look at grading your submissions, and in the meanwhile, keep up the good effort. Talk to you soon.